feels like a lifetime ago.
Bit drafty, maybe, but it's a right improvement over having tree bark in your tadger.
I mean, to be honest, we were here not that long ago. Well, I did come back to fight, or no, I didn't fight a Valkyrie, but I checked the chamber.
Time to rest.
I'm gonna sleep through winter.
Okay, this'll do.
Are we gonna lay on the head?
Sleep.
Way ahead of you.
Years later.
The ball.
I was gonna say, did we just sleep for years? Oh, fuck. Oh, it's fucking Thor. Oh, shit. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. I was gonna say we killed the sons of Thor, so when was he gonna show up? Oh, fuck. Oh my god, well I can't wait. Well, there you have it. I know I was doing a wrap-up just a few seconds ago, but then a transition and we're here because I had to make sure. I wanted to check home before we do anything. But I did have a wrap-up. I'm gonna give you guys my wrap-up. I'm not gonna bother making like a crazy long video or anything like I did with the Evil Within. I'll just give my 2 cents of everything. Just kind of going through my little thing that I was taking notes of for just a wrap-up. I'll go kind of pros, cons, my personal opinion on everything. Just a short summary. I'm not really great with doing reviews and all that shit, but the story of God of War. Great storytelling and writing, voice acting, everything like that. The guy, I think it's a new voice actor, or at least a different voice actor for Kratos than the ones we've seen in the third, or 1 through 3. Did a very good job portraying an older, even more battle-worn, just Kratos, dealing with all the shit that he has been. I like the different, the changes through the bonding with the kid. At times, you know, boy, eventually he calls him son, and all that. I think towards the end he did. But also just, you know, they're starting to connect a bit, eventually telling him the truth. The son still enjoys his time with him. You know, there's just a connection that kind of grows. It's not like a loving thing, because, you know, Kratos is still kind of distant. But it's, you know, it's a father-son bond that still does that. They do a real good job making you kind of hate, like, the kid at times. You know, there are times where he's just like, fuck off. And then other times he's, like, really cool. You know, I at the times... you know, overall I think the story was pretty good. The cons to the story, just in my opinion, was there was a lot of spaces in the story, but that's just due to the player, like me or you or whoever. Exploration times, how long it'll take. If you suck it or you take your sweet ass time trying to solve something through exploration, it feels like the story just suddenly is at a halt because you're doing a lot of shit, like trying to explore. So that's the only thing that kind of sucked. So, because it kind of felt like it was dragging on. Gameplay-wise, the combat's still fun through all the changes that they made. You are given 2 weapons, and that's still pretty good. Better than just having one. You get the new, you get the old. You got fire, ice. You know, you get the mix and match with the enemies you're given. Along with your fists, you can just completely beat the shit out of somebody with your fists. I also like that the child is not completely useless. As you upgrade him, his arrows and stuff are actually pretty awesome, and they help in a lot of times in a fight, whether it's damage or just stunning them in a certain effectiveness, which actually, the stun meter thing is actually pretty cool. That can help in certain pinches and certain situations given. So I thought that was pretty neat in and of its own. And, the quick time, or like the cinematic fighting times, a lot of people hate, you know, I know a lot of people are like, you know, hate those shit, but I love it when it's kind of interactive in those certain scenarios because you know that in gameplay-wise, it wouldn't be anywhere near as cool. So, and you want to give that cinematic and awesome feel and badass and all that shit. So, I don't know. In my head, it felt really cool. The weapon runes were pretty awesome. I think that they were awesome in the sense that you get to mix and match your heavy and your light. For a while, I was using that spin attack one because it worked well off of my one that got powerful with consecutive hits with no damage. So that worked out for me. I think that worked out pretty good for a while. And then I wanted to change it up towards the end and do the throwing one. And the buff with the axe was also pretty neat. So I think that was cool. What else? The one I want to say is I forgot to add in on my little wrap-up sheet was the whole changing of the items as you upgrade them. I like that the axe actually started to look fancier, like not really fancy, but you know, more detailed because it's getting more refined. It was getting worked on. It didn't look like a worn-down old axe like it did in the beginning, which you know was this, you know, it was an adventureless axe in a sense. It wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't doing anything like we were. You know, we had to get ourselves ready for this trip to the mountain, to the highest peak of the realm here. So I think that's pretty cool. The whole change that they did from the 1 through 3, from weapon level ups and magic, to just being gear power with enhancements, talisman, things like that. I think that was still a pretty cool idea. I like that we had gear level and not level up. Like, you know, leveling up from killing, because then you couldn't kind of over level, and it actually rewards you in a sense for exploration, you know, because you'd find the shit you need to craft stuff, and so it was a rewarding thing. The resurrection stones were also a pretty neat thing. I like that idea that if you didn't buy it, then you die and you start from a checkpoint, and if you have it, you get that quick, you know, if you fucked up, because the combat was very kind of... Everyone's going to compare it to Dark Souls. I think I compared it to Dark Souls. A lot of people will probably in that sense, but it is a very trial and error combat at times, at least in certain bosses and enemies, especially the Valkyrie fights. So those were pretty intense, and I liked them because it was a lot of learn moveset and to learn that and just try to adjust and adapt, and I like that. It is frustrating and all hell to deal with, and you have to have a lot of patience. But in the end, I actually still enjoyed it a hell of a lot. Especially like the first, few hours, 2 hours, 3 hours. Before we got to the part of upgrading our gear and actually getting gear, it was frustrating all hell. I turned it to normal because I was getting my ass kicked. There are times where anybody gets frustrated because you don't want to constantly lose. Some people can deal with that. Some people can't. I don't like that at times, but... I just didn't want to take forever in the game because I heard this game was long, so I was worried that, okay, if I'm dying in the first, 3 hours, a shit ton, and I'm not gonna, it's gonna be forever. So I like that. The Valkyries, were really awesome. I love that the exploration of this game was not like a main story thing, but it felt like there was so much depth to the story and lore when you were doing side things, like spirits, finding those lore things on the walls. There were scrolls that I never even bothered with, but you can get stuff with. There were a lot of things you could do that felt very story-like, all over the place, exploring, and it was just really cool. They did really well, in my opinion. So yeah, I think that was cool. A few cons that I have, though, gameplay-wise. I do wish there were a few more weapons. Again, I don't want it to be overburdened, though. I do want it to be like the older games, where, you know, maybe you had, 4, 3. But again, I don't want it overburdened because of the way that they are doing this, you know, with the leveling up, needing material for your weapon to make them stronger. It's understandable. It's not the same way as it was. If we were still just doing kill enemies, power them up with blood orb things, then it would make sense. But because of that, I don't think it's necessary, you know. But it would be nice because I always love variety of things. But yeah, it was still good. One other con, I feel like that the gear and loot thing has been done a lot lately, like exploration to find loot, to get craft gear, make gear, things like that. The Evil Within did this. A lot of other games kind of have done this in the past. I feel like it's kind of been there, done that kind of thing. But it's still not a bad idea for what the game is. I felt like that body armor or some sort of armor defense was something that was needed in the first 3 God of Wars when I was playing. I was like, man, fucking Kratos, put a shirt on. Put some goddamn armor on instead of a shoulder piece. And look at that. We got chances to wear a shirt, but in the end, I still had like that shoulder pad thing in the end. But it was, it's kind of not overdone. A lot of games do it, but it works for what the game is, so it's not really a whole con. It's kind of just a middle thing where it's like, if I'm going to be that guy, we don't need that whole, like, find loot thing, because it's already been done, even though everything's been done at this point. But for what the game was, what they changed it to be, it worked out. So in the end, I'm not really that upset about it. That doesn't really affect my rating overall of the game. Annoying enemies. There were some frustrating enemies. I forget what they were called. Those Wolverine-looking guys with the claws. They were annoying. The Dark Soul enemy guys, actually, even though they were kind of annoying in certain situations, I didn't actually hate them. I actually enjoyed them a lot. I don't remember what their names were off the top of my head. I'd have to literally be looking at the thing to find out. But yeah, every game kind of has those shitty handful of enemies or 1 or 2 that you hate. So nothing new there. During the Valkyrie fights, I didn't stream and record any of them. I may have done like 1, 2, maybe 3. I don't know. I fought like all but 2. There's like the Queen and 1 more to unlock the Queen. In my fights, and my friend Brandon Fire Prophecy saw this with me when I was playing, because he was showing me where they were, because that's when I found out how to find them. When I was fighting them, I'd get to like literally the last bar of their health, and I'd be in rage mode or something. Like, go in rage mode, just go nuts, get it quickly killed. Their health bar would not move in certain situations, no matter the damage I was doing, because the game was trying to set it up to, do the stun thing, and it got me killed on multiple times, because I'm like trying to, you're trying to go in for the kill, just finish it up, but then they just attack you, and you trying to just throw your strategy out the window, because you're just like end it. You don't want to die, but you end up fucking yourself. It was kind of annoying. I didn't like that, but I don't know if I'm the only one who's dealt with something like that, or it's been a thing people dealt with. I don't know. Kind of hated it, but oh well. It's a minor thing. It does set up for that stun, so it's understandable. This may end up just being its own video instead of me putting it in. The ending of the last thing. As you set up for the stuns, or like getting the stuns, the executions were really cool. God of War 1 through 3 suffered from this. There's, every enemy's got their unique execution in some way, but it gets overplayed real fast. And now I'm not saying adding more would have done much, but I would have liked to see at least a handful of executions for each enemy, or a couple more executions, because it just felt like they were just there as to be there. They didn't feel like it was a thing that was necessary. They helped in certain situations, because some blew up fire, ice, whatever, depending on the enemy, but or you chucked them or did something else. They were cool. I just wish there were a few more to choose from. Even if there were a few more, I'd probably still be like, oh, they were boring, or they'd get boring. But I'd rather have like 4 or 5 than 1 or 2, it didn't feel, it just felt like it was there at times, so it kind of sucked. But not a big deal, those were just minor things. The world of the game, I'm not crazy into the mythology things. I'm not really in detail of all of the gods. Like, most of the names I kind of know offhand, Loki, Thor, I almost said Zeus, but that's the other mythology. I know them, Odin and all them, but I don't know them. Like, I don't research. I don't look heavily into mythology, but this whole thing about it is still pretty awesome and pretty interesting. In my opinion, it's still pretty cool. So the changes from the old God of War to the new, for the most part, the changes were pretty interesting and in a fun direction. I do feel, though, that the hardcore fans would may not like some of these, because it was originally a hack and slash, or whatever you would want to call what the original God of Wars were. And the other ones had, like, lots of crazy combat, quick time events, crazy ways to just murder your enemy that were ridiculous. Like with bosses stuff in the quick time. And they just felt insane. And this one was a lot more tamed. Combat was still tense. I got really tensed up in certain situations. But it felt like that the combat did take a bit of a backseat to tell this story, which wasn't a bad thing, given that we're in this new world and the story that is being told. We were kind of going into a more storytelling game with action than an action game with a story. And I feel like in the new eyes of people, like people who have not played the other three, who may have just read it on a wiki and then played this, the new formula that this game is, that feels kind of Uncharted Last of Us-ish, because, you know, story, behind the camera, very close, immersive, you know, quick time event-ish, whatever you want to call them, like actions and things like that, mixed a really good way of gameplay and depth into the story, to compared to just a large amount of kill room enemies that the 1 through 3 did from the distant camera. I think this is still something that was good. Again, it's hard to tell for the people who were hardcore fans that they'd like this. I mean, they still did a pretty good job combat-wise to keep it fun and interesting. It's just that I feel like a lot of people probably like the hack and slash more, but who knows? I don't know. I don't know the voting. I don't look into that. The gameplay changes are clear and to many and most, and in my opinion, they made a lot of right choices going into this, I think, anyway. And I won't lie, I do miss. I like hack and slash like Devil May Cry, and I did enjoy 1 through 3. Even though, I don't know. I'm losing my train of thought because of the music. I won't lie that I do miss the hack and slash, though I did suck at fighting them. I did suck at fighting the enemies in 1 through 3 at times, like the harder enemies. So in this one, when there was a hard enemy, I did feel like I was actually hurting something. I did feel effective. And to be honest, with this being the first one out of the next couple that I've heard that they've been rumored to do, at least this wasn't... I heard there was a confirmation this wasn't going to be the last time we see Kratos, so I knew there was going to be another one after this. I just didn't know how they were going to do this. But they have room to improve, change, and work on the new base that they've created, and just create and it creates an excitement to the fans to see what they could do with this. You know, this was like, you know, they took it in a different direction, they tried a different formula, a whole different thing, and in my opinion, I think it works out in its own way, and it's, you know, it's not super unique where this is completely different, but for the series of God of War, this was unique, this was different for the series of God of War from what it was, to try to combine the fun gameplay that we've had in the other three with a more immersive, more interesting storytelling than the others, because the first 1 through 3 was a lot of killing with just this story of Kratos. Like, I was intrigued with the story through Kratos with 1 through 3, but it felt like the game was mainly based off a lot of parkour, puzzle solving, killing. Then I would lose track of what the fuck was going on until it was like, oh, look, you made it to the room with a boss. And it was like, oh, okay. So there were some things in 1 through 3, and I think that they improved upon in this. So, I don't know. Overall, the new openness direction is both a plus and a negative to me, though, like I was saying. Though I love being able to explore and such, I did wish there was a little bit more loot to find gear-wise. Like, you know, I did find some wrists, some chest pieces, and some waist armor. I'm fine with what they've given me either way, because it still helped in my adventures in some way or another. I do just wish that, there was some more pieces of loot that would have been found, so it wasn't just completely based off crafting, that I felt a little more reward towards exploration. My controller turned off. My bad. But yeah, but other than that, that wasn't that bad. I'm still happy with this. Like I said earlier on, I think the openness does space out the story, but again, it's due to the players, how long the player takes to explore and check things, as well as dying a lot on those explorations depending on the difficulty and your skill level. I'm more of a fan of a more closed, linear story. Nothing too crazy, like not super linear. There can be some openness, but has, you know, not, I don't know. I'm always afraid when it's open like this that it would drag on or get boring, or I might train, or I just like derail from the game. Like I get distracted, my attention span goes to something else. So yeah, that's my only problem. The gameplay otherwise feels good, as it felt that there were huge changes to the combat, of course, and they felt nice. I was worried that it was going to be sluggish, slow, and kind of meh, because we were a lot closer. This isn't a third-person shooter. This is a third-person melee fighting thing that we haven't... I mean, we've had third-person fighting and all that things, like hack and slash, but I don't know the last one that I played that was third-person with, like, melee combat and doing things like that. It was fun. It was interesting. Overall, I'd give this like a 9 out of 10, to be honest with you. Like, it's damn near perfect. A few flaws here and there. A few little devil's advocate, like if I'm going to be like that other guy, or I'm going to be that guy who's going to complain about something. There are a few things. To me, it's really hard to say perfect game. I just haven't gotten the feel. I know I was super hyped and super crazy about The Evil Within 2, and a lot of people didn't really like that game, or didn't think it was all that great. But, like, I'm not someone who just says perfect, because I can see some minor flaws and some minor things as a person who's not a fan, or just as a fan of something. And I'm gonna assume for the next game of the year, this one's gonna be kind of tough. Like, this is gonna be tough to top. I mean, yeah, we got Red Dead Redemption 2 coming out in October. Everyone's like Red Dead. But I don't know about that. There's another game I think that's a big name coming out this year as well. I don't remember, though, what it could have been. But yeah, I think overall, 9 out of 10. Like, it gave me that, like, I was really interested in playing. I got addicted. It was fun. But it just doesn't hit me as the game, the perfect game. But it's definitely worth the play. Whether you get it for $60 or less, I still think it's worth. I know a lot of people argue it's not worth getting $60 for a game. It's fucking single player and blah blah blah. But you know what? I'm happy for this. I like single player games. I love what people do to do this shit. I'm not a big multiplayer guy unless it's co-op, because I feel like that's all we're going is the direction of PvP multiplayer games, and they're fun. Don't get me wrong. Competitive PvP is an awesome thing. But single player and co-op games are where it's at in my heart, and that's why it sits highly to me that this game was pretty awesome. As a guy who literally knew God of War but never played him until literally a month ago, and I had a blast playing 1 through 4 with you guys, like all of these. I didn't play the prequels. I read on the ones of the Chain of Olympus or whatever it was called, and Ghost of Sparta. So yeah, but yeah, I think that's it, really. I mean, still a pretty good score. I want to say 10 out of 10. I really do, but like I said, it just doesn't hit me as perfection. There are still some things that could be tweaked, changed, and worked on. And but then again, I'm always a guy who doesn't want to say perfect, because the moment you say perfect is the moment things get sloppy. I've always been someone who just wants to keep trying to improve. You know, I'm never been that when I go to work or wherever. I don't sit there and like, I did a perfect job. No, I think I did an average, below average, or a pretty decent job, but I can get better at that. So that's why I don't want to give it a perfect, because you know what? I can see them getting better with this. I can see them tweaking and improving and doing a lot of the things that they did in this and improving upon this. But again, I always have that hesitation, that little worry in the back of my mind. When games are making, or when companies make great games in a row, I always say there's a bound to be a flop. And that's what I was worried about with this. I didn't get myself hyped. I don't even hype myself up for new games. I don't even look at trailers at all. Like, I literally keep myself in the dark as best I can for games I'm going to stream, play, or at some point. And I went in thinking, like, I hope it's good for the fans, because I really do want it to be good. I always want people who are fans of these games for them to be good. I don't want a bad game, and I don't want people to have anything crushed or have any hopes break because the game was terrible, you know? But I literally was hoping that this game would be good. But again, after playing 1 through 3 and how great 3 was after the improvements they made from 1 and 2 to be a lot better, because again, it went from PS2 to PS3, I was worried that this jump from this one was going to be a flop, or just because there was a lot of changes. There were a lot of changes. I thought it was going to get a lot of bad reviews in the sense of hardcore fans. I thought hardcore fans were going to shit on this game. I thought it was it just, I don't know. I'm happy the way it turned out. But yeah, I think that there could be improvement. But yeah, 9 out of 10 is my thing. And again, I hope they continue to improve. I hope they completely blow it out of the water, take what they build upon, and go even more nuts with the next one, you know? I sit there and hope that there is no, flop. But with that said, now that God of War is over, I'm going to get back to it. Even though to you guys on YouTube, it may not even have looked like it. But Far Cry 5 is going to get back to started. I might be streaming and playing another game that you might not see recorded and uploaded. Or if it is, it might not be recorded and uploaded. Or it may not be uploaded a lot. Or it might not be uploaded for a while. Like, until I play a lot of it or beat it. I don't know when I'm going to upload from it at all. Yeah, I may not. I have like 3 or 4 folders of stuff I've played and recorded and I've not uploaded, and I stream stuff I have not uploaded or recorded because there are just times I don't feel like it's worth it. But the last Far Cry 5 recording at this date of May, I think it's the 3rd now, or is it the 2nd? Already lost. What day is it? It's the 3rd. As I beat this game on May 3rd, dating the video. I'm now just getting back into Far Cry 5. I did stop right around the release of God of War, and I haven't played it since I played a small amount of it during the time, but I have not touched it since, really I have not touched it since God of War came out. So yeah, we'll be getting back to that. Like I said, I have another game series that I'm going to play through soon. As well as, since we're in May, the Dark Souls Remastered comes out soon, as well as another game I'm going to check out. It's like an indie, I don't know if it's an indie game or what the fuck it is. I'm going to check it out. They come out late in May. I think one comes out the 29th, and I think Dark Souls comes out 25th, so we'll be doing that. So I don't know what I'll be starting or doing over the course of all that. I have some things I might do. Far Cry 5, though, is still on the top thing, as well as Kingdom Hearts, as well as this other game that we're starting. I think that for now, I think we're pretty stacked for what we're doing. Chilling out here. Ugh. God damn it, controller. I thought I turned this setting off. But yeah, I guess that's my whole review shtick. I was actually gonna just make that. I said this literally early on. I'm not gonna make that. I'm gonna add this to the end of the last because I literally ended not really even thinking about going home. And to be honest, I was gonna add this onto the last, but I'll just make this its own separate finale. You get to see the video, you get my wrap up. And like I said, people disagree. Some people agree. I don't. In the end, I really don't give a shit. And not to be rude about it. It's an opinion, and to be honest, like I said, it's just what I think. Other people will hold this game to higher regards, and some people will think this game is fucking trash. In the end, I don't care. It's my opinion. I'm not looking for people to accept it, listen to me and buy this game, and I'm not sitting here thinking, listen to my opinion or whatever. It's just me voicing it because, look, I beat the game. I'm just telling you how I feel. Some people take it all the wrong way. People have gotten very pissy this day and age, and you know what? I just, I don't care. Oh, okay. I didn't even hit next. Present day.
Atreus, are you ready?
Yeah, but I had the weirdest dream. Fimbulwinter was ending, and Thor came for us. Here at the house.
It was only a dream.
But it felt different. It felt real. It felt like the future.
Then we will worry about it tomorrow. Today, there are still things we can do. Come.
We have things to do, Atreus. AKA Loki, and it's crazy. Alright, we did it, guys. Again, thank you so much for watching and hanging out. That'll be the last time you see me accidentally shoot an arrow. We are all set. Thank you, Axe. You've done your job. We are never seeing that axe again. Right, boy? I come back instantly, right? Yep, hello. Alright, we're done with you. You've done your job. Alright, it's out of the picture. Can't really throw my other blades, though. Well, I can, but you know what I mean. I can't fucking get them out of here. Really awesome what they did. Again, I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Kratos, we will see you in the next God of War. Hell, we may even replay through this, way down the line when they're thinking of making the next one. Who knows? Hopefully they'll keep on going and they're not going to make... I mean, if they're going to make a spin-off, I hope that they're not, They made prequels and things. I did say that I wanted I wouldn't mind a prequel. But I just don't want it to stray from seeing more of this, But I wouldn't mind a prequel kind of deal of just the time with the mother and seeing if there was any craziness they could come up with that Kratos and the mother have not talked about. Or just the mom's adventures in general. I kind of wish we could have seen what she looked like. But yeah, I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys next time in our next playthrough of games. Until then, I'll see you guys later.